morning. Today I would like to represent my understanding about nature of young learner, including their characteristic, how they learn, and how teacher can deal with the different types of learners. So here you go. This topic is very important because especially for us as video teacher, because teaching children is very different from teaching adults. Children have their own unique way of learning, and as a teacher we need to understand that. First, I will explain the characteristic of young learner. Young learners are usually active and energetic. They like to move, play, and explore. That's why sitting quietly for a long time is very difficult for them. They also learn through play. For children, learning is more effective when it feels fun. Effective like games, like songs, and do some role play can help them understand better. Another characteristic is they have short attention span. They can easily get bored and distracted, so teachers need to change activities frequently. Young learners also learn by doing. They understand better than they are involved physically, for example, by touching objects or doing activities. In addition, children love imitating. They copy what the teacher says and does. So it is very important for teacher to give clear example. From my experience when I teach my kiddos in the online teaching and offline teaching, they usually respond faster when I use gesture or game compared that to just explaining. And then I always do some games activity when I do teaching online. And that's so really impressive and really effective for teach children. Next, I will explain how children learn. The children often learn indirectly, which means they learn without realizing it. And for example, when they listen to stories or watching some videos, they are actually learning language naturally. They are also curious learners. They like to ask some questions and explore new things. So this curiosity should be encouraged, not limited. Then young learners are also visual and contextual learner. They understand better when they can see something, such as picture, gesture, or real-life examples. And then another important point is that children are social learners. They enjoy learning with others, with their friends. So pair work in the class and group activities are very effective. And then finally, children need repetition and they learn better when they hear or practice something many times. So repetition is help them remember and understand more deeply. Based on this characteristic, teachers need to use appropriate teaching strategies. First, the teacher can use a total physical response, or we can say TPR, which means using body movement to teach vocabulary, and then I will give some example. Student can jump, run, or point to object. When the teacher says jump, the students must jump. Second, teachers should connect listen to students. Real life experience, when the material is familiar, the student can more understand it more easily. So that's why the teacher must give some real life experience. And the third is teacher can use real object or reality, such as a fruit, toys, or a classroom item. This makes learning more concert and meaningful for children. And another strategy is using games and storytelling. That is so a basic strategy teaching. And these strategies make the class more interesting and help students stay engaged. And when I teach my kiddos in online teaching, I always do the online games I will give in here. And then in that game they must to do some adventure for searching some question though. That's really makes them happy, and then they knowing more about our material. And then the teacher also need to create clear routines in the classroom so students feel comfortable and know what to expect. And lastly, it is important to use free activities. Changing activities every 10 until 15 minutes it can help prevent boredom. It can help prevent boredom and keep students focused on our material. And yeah, this is for example, when I teach, I usually start with a short game, then continue with the lesson, and end it simple with a review, or sometimes I use games too for our own lesson. This can help the students stay engaged and more interest with us as a teacher. To conclude, young learners have unique characteristics that makes them different from adult learners. They learn through play, the interaction, and repetition. And as a teacher, we need to understand how they learn and use appropriate strategies to make some learning process effective and enjoyable in the class. And then, by creating a fun, supportive, and interactive classroom, we can help children learn better and feel more confident in using English. So that's all about characteristic of young learner. I hope this video can help you if you want to be a good teacher in the future. You must know their characteristic and you must know how to teach them in every age and every step. And then don't forget to always practicing yourself if you want to be a good teacher in the future, and you must to add your knowledge how to teach your student and how to being a good teacher, because if we don't try it now we never know where we must to add our knowledge, or we must to try again to being a good teacher in the future. That's all about the material. Thank you for watching and goodbye.